lucky, but it was too late. I didn't do it in time. Now this is long term. This is a gentleman who was with us for 8 years and never ever kept his phosphorus in check ever. And it did eventually catch up to him. I mean, the gentleman could have gotten a transplant. He could still be alive today. It just wasn't in the cards for him. And of course, we definitely don't want to see that for any of our young patients. And these are just sometimes things that, healthcare providers just don't really get into that nitty gritty. And I can honestly say that if I was in renal failure and somebody was telling me certain things, I might say, well, I feel great. I don't know what they're talking about. These are unfortunately things that are just very silent that happen in the body that you just won't see until it's too late. And most oftentimes they're not reversible. You can't go back in time and change it and fix it. For renal failure patients, typically the damage is done. And there's, only like going forward and working with, what you have for existing, function or whatever. So there are toxins, there are certain things in your blood right now that can be slowly causing some damage. And of course, Dr. Ercani is concerned that if you wait too long to get blood drawn or get a dialysis treatment, that could put you in a pretty life-threatening situation. He might be remarkably surprised. You might walk in there, have blood, and he might look at your blood and go, holy Moses, her blood work looks fantastic. We've seen those things happen. You can fluctuate. I lost my word here. Function. You can go up to 20% function. You can go down to 10. You can go back up to 18. I've seen patients fluctuate like that for years. And whenever your own natural function fluctuates up, that's usually when that gives the patient a false sense of, oh gosh, I can come off dialysis, I feel great. Most of them decrease the amount of treatments that they're doing, and I've seen them do it because they're doing it in their own homes, and they cut down on what they're doing because they're feeling better, and they just don't feel that they need as much treatment. And in a way, that's true. But then once that function fluctuates back down, if you're not aware that it's fluctuating back down, you'll know, because if you're only providing yourself one treatment a week, all of a sudden you start to feel tired, bloated, fatigued again, and that means typically your body needs more cleaning. So I guess, the ending of the story is he would like to carry you on as a nephrologist still. He would be more than happy to write orders for you to start home therapy with us. But in order to do so, he needs you to get into a facility to get blood work drawn and get dialyzed.
Not a problem. I can do that as early as today if it's okay for me to go to the to MGH.
Would you like to talk to him directly?
Okay, yeah.
I heard, I know he's at the dialysis center. I don't know if he's in the hospital or, maybe just paging him might be
the best
beneficial.
Thing. Okay.
But I did hear the equipment in the background.
Okay.
Long term, the hospital's not going to be able to manage you with, treatments.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe just getting somewhere to get labs drawn is a good start, and then talking to him about getting dialyzed for the next couple weeks until a prescription can be signed and equipment can be delivered, and we can process you.
Okay. All right. We can work on that, definitely. I'll give him a call and I'll see what's available. I appreciate you giving me a call, and you've given me a lot to really think about and to really digest. Um, I understand that going on to home dialysis is a responsibility, and that, I mean, I see what you're saying, that regardless of how good or how bad I might be feeling, when I am taking care of my own health, it's my responsibility that whatever the prescription is to meet that prescription. But I also hope that I have people on the other side that when, I'm feeling like things aren't going wrong, as long as I'm holding up my end of the bargain, I'll be heard and it'll be taken into consideration.
I mean, I think so. I think, unfortunately, most people function that way. If you ask them, if they ask you to do something and you do it, they look at that as, compliancy. And I know most dialysis patients hate that word, compliance. It's a word that I try not to use, but I mean, they do have a tendency to say, oh, she didn't take her meds, she's a non-compliant patient, or she didn't come in for treatment, she's a non-compliant patient. I don't really like the word because, you just might not like what you're faced with. And quite frankly, I wouldn't like being a dialysis patient. I would just be horrified. I would say, oh my God, are you kidding me? I have to start dialysis? I I would probably, for the most part, I would be very good with fluid control because I just don't drink a lot. But when it comes to my phosphorus, I'd be horrible. I'm sure the dietitian would be on my case constantly, and I would say, I don't care. I like Coke. I like drinking soda. I like eating chocolate.
But that's not the case, right? I was told to restrict
No,
fluids, and I stopped, and that's when I started getting super dehydrated. I stopped taking phosphorus, and I was taking the Foslo, and my phosphorus like plummeted. I mean, I've done what I've been told, and unfortunately, it's the adverse is necessary. I had a doctor telling me, okay, you need to have some Chinese food before you go there, so you have some salt in your system, so that you can, retain some of this fluid after dialysis. So I understand the compliance as far as, I mean, being non-compliant when it comes to dialysis recently, but I thought that was more so about needing a new modality and having issues with the actual center, and less about me being lackadaisical about my health. I mean, that's why I've been on the phone every day trying to talk to people, find out, so where are we? What's going on? I'm not somebody to let, yeah.
I did share that with him, and I said, I definitely can see the concerns of the staff, and I said, I'm a very unusual home nurse. I said, I do often tell, and don't misunderstand my quote. It's usually something I say to doctors and in-center nurses because they're more receptive to those words. I've typically told somebody, you can take a non-compliant in-center patient, because those are the words they like.
Mm-hmm.
You can take an angry, non-compliant in-center patient and turn them into a great home patient.
Mm-hmm.
Because typically, if you have somebody in a setting that they're not happy with, you've got to find them something different. You may try all your options, and if you've tried all the options and they're still unhappy, then they need to just come to terms with the fact that this is what they have for options.
Right.
Pick one and try to make it a pleasant experience.
Right.
I've taken patients that are on home dialysis, and I've told them, you're an angry person, you're not happy with your situation. I think we need to try something different. Home dialysis may not be for you.
Okay.
Let's do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do in-center and see how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You may enjoy it better.
Okay.
And I've actually seen people reverse roles, go from home to in-center, and be the happiest people ever.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So it's not always, in my understanding, a non-compliant issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained that to him. I said, she has been very motivated to do this. She's been on the phone and calling and contacting and researching. So I said she has motivation to take control over her health.
Mm-hmm.
In-center just may not be what she's good at.
Okay.
And he totally agrees with that.
Okay.
He's very motivated to help you transition into home dialysis.
Okay.
But he needs to see some blood work, and he needs to have you get in for treatments.
Okay.
To see where you're at metabolically.
No problem. All right. So I'll page him, and we'll talk about what the next steps are for getting me dialyzed and getting those labs drawn. And okay, that works for me definitely.
Okay. Yeah. And then of course, real quick, the other big issue is your catheter. It may not be functioning.
Right.
So if it hasn't been used since November, it just may not be working at all.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a fistula in your arm?
I do.
Okay. And how long's it been there?
About 10, 11 weeks now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, usually 6 weeks, sometimes longer. But it could be something that is actively usable.
Mm-hmm.
If it involves just getting a few weeks worth of treatments to transition to us, I mean, at some point in time when we start you, we could attempt the access and look at it to see if it's ready.
Yeah, I'd like to actually make an attempt. My only concern is I'd like to start it off using the buttonhole, and I know that at DCI they don't do buttonholes at all, so that's something I'd bring up to him, that, if we are going to go back and we're going to initiate working with the fistula, I'd like to go to a center that allows me to do self-canalization, teach me, show me how to do it, and so we can get started on moving up to the 15 gauge so that we can, develop these.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'll bring that up to him, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think it would be worth a try if you do go in to get some treatments and the catheter is non-functioning.
Mm-hmm.
If one side of the catheter is functioning, they can do a 1-in-1.
Right.
They can have a needle in the access and then return through your catheter.
Okay.
We've done that before. We've had one line in the catheter and one line in the access.
Yeah, and I think that's how I believe Dr. Connolly was saying that's how they prefer to transition over to the fistula. So right. I'm kind of crossing my fingers and hoping it'll work out. So hopefully at least we have one side of the catheter working and we can start using the fistula. But we'll see. I'll talk to them and I'll get hopefully a good looking over and they'll take a look at the fistula, etc.
Okay. All right. So just keep me posted as to what the schedule looks like as for blood work, and
okay.
Feel free to provide him with my cell phone number, and he already has it.
Okay.
He already called me this morning, but at any point in time, whatever the two of you decide on the schedule,
mm-hmm.
We have equipment, we have supplies. We could get something going within. We need at least a 10-day window.
Okay.
But we could quite possibly. I've seen it done in a shorter period of time. 6 days is cutting it. Typically, the company that supplies us with the equipment,
mm-hmm.
We need 10 days.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Not a problem. I will get him a call and we'll get started on it ASAP. If I can get in today, I'll definitely go in today. It's early enough.
Okay. All right. Good luck.
All right. No, thank you very, very much, Jen. And I'm jumping on it now. I'm paging him now.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Jen. Right. Have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
All right. Bye.